I've been hiking up this beautiful hill today and getting some flights in. It's been pretty fun. It's a good way to get some exercise, but I think right now is a good time to do the Q&A. So let me pop in here, see the questions you guys asked on Instagram, and get started. Okay, so Future FPV asks, would the Ethics S3 props work well with 2700 kV motors? They're a lower pitch prop. I would imagine that they'd be okay. I mean, working well. I don't know, I've never tried them myself, but I mean, try it out. I'd imagine they'd be okay. You could totally fly it, that's for sure. Benjamin Hansen asks, will you ever go up to a 2208 motor size? I don't know, I'm pretty comfortable with 2407. I feel like that's already a pretty big stator and a big motor, so I'm not sure. I don't know if I need to go that direction quite yet. FPV Jorge asks, cheap motors, about $15 to $10. We always got stuff coming out, so just keep an eye out. You know how we do it. Quad Life asks, Konasty motors, are you involved in the actual engineering process, or is it just branding? How does it work? So I don't know how it works with other companies. I know a lot of companies just rebrand a motor. We are completely involved in the whole process, from like finding the stator we want. Like, I wanted a certain stator, I use a certain magnets, I wanted a bell design, the graphics on the bell, to what windings go in it, to the bolt size, the bolt pattern, everything we do, we decide. So Steele decides all his motors, even Trappy's doing all his TBS motors, he does them his own way, and he puts that same philosophy on us as well. We design the whole entire thing with Trappy's engineers, and it's completely our input. That's why, I mean, it takes a long time for us to come out with these motors, and yeah, the development it just takes a minute. I go through samples and samples and samples, and usually I fly something like the ones I have right here. These are still samples of like my final version. That's why they have A on it. So I think I jacked this bell. See, that one says B. But you know, the bells are the same. We were doing different windings at that point, and I was testing out different windings, winding A versus winding B, see what's better, see what pulls more amps, and so on. So to answer your question, we are completely involved with every single item that comes out of Ethics, and we're super hands-on with it between me, Steele, and Trappy, and all his engineers. Perplexed has two questions in here. I don't know if I said that right, but he's saying he's going to build a 7-inch 5S with Konasty motors. He's wondering if that's too much power, or if it'll flatten the props, and like, why 6-inch? Those are kind of like his double questions. Honestly, I choose 6-inch because it's the most versatile for me for capturing footage. I've always been kind of into just getting like nice footage as good as possible. With a 6-inch, I could always go down and throw a 5-inch prop on there. My motors on 5-inch props, that's kind of a thing I looked for, like 5, 5.5, and 6, flew very well. And it gave me the options to be like, okay, I need to get out to that area quicker, fly a little bit faster, cover more ground, not be so amp hungry. Let's run the 6-inch props today. And then I would be like, okay, you know what, I'm doing freestyle or something really tight, I don't want to be ballooning too much or whatever, let's run 5 or 5.5 and have a little bit more control over the quad, because we all know that 6-inch tends to like drift or balloon a little bit more just because of the more thrust. So yeah, it allows me to be more versatile, and also a 6-inch, that is so loud out there. Also, a 6-inch frame with 5-inch props flies very, very smooth and stable because of the wide body base. I'm gonna wait till that ambulance stops before my next question. Jesus, it's just ripping. All right, so John Caponti asks, how often do you change props? I don't change props too often. I mean, unless I obviously crash or, you know, hit something or whatever. But even in that case, if I could bend the prop back, then I'll keep using it. But until then I change props. So I do go through props, but just not as much as I used to when I first started out. Nate Man After asks, feelings on Popo motor / props. I think it's cool. New technology is always good for the hobby and everything. I don't personally use it. I know that the props that I use have the little notches in there for them, so technically it is a Popo prop. I don't see any difference in it. I just don't have a bell that supports that system. Now I'm going to finish this one off on a question from Jason Golacki. Opinion on cheap versus high-end motors. I feel like this is just a thing in the hobby where everybody now just wants everything cheap and they expect it to be good, and cheap and good just do not go together. It doesn't matter what it is. Like I always say, when people come to get work done and stuff, work that is good is never cheap, and work that is cheap is never good. And there's a big thing to go with that saying. And so I feel like people that want cheap motors, maybe they're not going to want to be in this hobby for very long because they just want to see if they like it and whatever. And that's completely fine to me. It's good to bring in new people, but there has to be a staple of quality and paying for that quality, and that can't go away. So everybody that's always complaining about wanting something very good for very cheap, it's not going to happen. Get over it. Alright, so that ends my Q&A, and I'll see you guys tomorrow for more of a behind the scenes, I guess, or whatever you want to say of what I was doing here, because this video was supposed to go out today, but I'm making it also today, so I have to make it later today. You guys are already watching it. I don't know why I'm saying this. I'll see you guys. Peace.